say whatever you want to say. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, this is discussion only. How many times you will say sorry to interrupt? So okay, this is x, something like, let's say I take x power 9 minus 7x power 6 plus 8x cube. It's some polynomial. Like the coefficients are actually not very important. I have written some polynomial. Okay, so this is polynomial infinitely differentiable function. Fine, no problem. So what I do, I take the Taylor series of f in x about the number 2. Okay, Taylor series of f in x, of course x is the variable, about the number 2. Fine, so I will get a Taylor series. Fine, now what I want the sum of all the coefficients. That's what I want. One of my one of my favorite questions. You can think about it, huh, later. But if you did understand this example, then you should be able to, when they are related. Okay, yeah, like this one, this table tells you how to remember. I believe many of the texts write that. So let's go to our discussion on positive definite matrices and positive semi-definite matrices. Okay, MNC means this means n by n complex matrices. I mean, they can have complex. We allow complex entries. Real entries are definitely allowed. All the, I mean, matrices. Okay, so a matrix, a square matrix, n by n square matrix is said to be positive definite. Okay, and in short we write it PD. That's what I would be writing. If so, PD, this is definition. If x star Ax is positive for all x not equal to 0. What is x? Now x is a complex vector of appropriate size. A is n by n, then x is like a vector of size n. Okay, this is PD if x star Ax. Because for x equal to 0, this will be 0, so we avoid that. And it is called positive semi-definite, PSD, if x star Ax is greater than equal to 0 for all x in Cn. Okay, fine. So these are the definition. Remember, in a definition, when we define, normally it comes, we call it the set with two operations, this and this, a field, if a set of conditions. That if is actually, because it is being defined, it is actually if and only if. You call it a field if this is satisfied, and if I mean, when you are calling a field, we also assume that these are all satisfied. I mean, it is if and only. By field we mean this, a set that satisfies these things. Similarly, a matrix, saying a matrix positive definite, we mean a matrix with this property. That's it. So this if is actually in a definition, if means this if and only. Okay, some simple facts. Number one, suppose that a matrix is PD, then AII. So if you have already noticed it, fine. If you have not noticed it, try to take some example. Let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want to take a vector over here. Okay, and a vector over here. Okay, I want to write a 0, 1 vector on the left and a 0, 1 vector on the right, so that the total product will be 8. What am I going to take? One choice is that 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. This 8 is coming at 3, 3 position. Okay, so I take E3 and E3. You take the multiplication and see that you are actually going to get 8. Suppose I want to get, instead of 8, I want to get 7. What would I take? See, it is the third row, definitely the third row that I have to select. So therefore 0, 0, 1 is fine. But since it is the third row second entry, I would be taking 0, 1, 0. You see the take the multiplication, then you will be seeing that you will actually get 7. Okay, so these are just matrix multiplication, is like you remember that. So in general, what you have now, in general you have EI transpose A EJ, that will give you AIJ, the ijth entry. Okay, so you have to get a feeling of it. And then suppose that I have a matrix that is PD, so that basically says X star A X. Acha, what is star? If you do not remember, star is the transpose and complex, so it's the complex conjugate. Okay, I mean a complex transpose, Hermitian transpose. Like basically, if I have the vector 1 I, then its star would be 1 minus I. You transpose it and takes the complex conjugates. Okay, so item A, suppose that I have PD, then I already know that X star, by definition X star A X is greater than 0 for all X non-zero, for all X non-zero. In particular, if I take X equal to EI, what do I see? Now the ith diagonal entry is positive. So one property, every positive definite matrix has diagonal entries positive. Okay, similarly A prime, every positive semi-definite matrix has diagonal entries non-negative. Okay, take any matrix A, any square matrix A, then A star A and A star are PST, positive semi-definite. That is because if you take any vector X, then X star A X is nothing but X star A star is nothing but AX star AX, and so this is AX norm square, and being norm square, it is always greater than equal to 0. So in particular, it says that A star A is PST, and if you have A star A PST, the same about A star. Okay, similar, the same proof. In particular, if A is non-singular, then they are positive definite. So there, what happens now? Let X be not equal to 0. For the second part I am doing now, let X be not equal to 0, then assuming A is non-singular, X is not equal to 0. Because if X is equal to 0, it basically would mean that you have I mean the rank of A, I mean the nullity is 1, so at least 1. So you have a 0 eigenvector, a 0 eigenvalue, or yeah, a non-trivial combination of the columns is 0, Ax equal to 0 means that. So which means the null space is a non-trivial subspace. So therefore Ax cannot be 0 because A is non-singular, and hence X star A star Ax, which is equal to Ax norm square, will be strictly bigger than 0 because Ax is non-zero. It's a non-zero vector. Non-zero vector norm is always positive. Norm definition, if you remember, V norm is equal to 0 if and only if V equal to 0. This is one part of the definition of norm. Norm satisfies three properties, right? So this is the third one. The matrix I, identity matrix, is PD. That is simply because X star Ix means X star X. If X is non-zero, this basically means X norm square. And so trivially this zero matrix is PST. That is fine. A PD matrix by definition is a PST matrix. That is fine. A non-singular matrix cannot be, a singular matrix cannot be PD, cannot be positive definite. If you have, so that argument very similar to what I have said. If A is singular, what does it mean? It means there exists a vector, non-trivial vector X, there exists a non-trivial vector, or trivial vector means 0, non-trivial means X not equal to 0. There exists a non-zero vector X such that X equal to 0. So in that case, X star Ax becomes 0, but it is supposed to be, for every non-zero vector, it is supposed to be positive if it is going to be positive definite. So cannot be, it cannot be PD. Okay, so that is fine. These are some trivial things. The first thing that one should know is that a positive semi-definite matrix or even a PD matrix, positive semi-definite is a bigger class. Okay, the larger class is positive semi-definite. PD, because a PD matrix by D, if you are looking at the item D, a PD matrix is by definition PST. It means if you are considering all PD matrix, then this is a subset of all PST matrix. So PST class is bigger class. Okay. Any matrix which is PST is Hermitian. Hermitian means A star is equal to A. That's Hermitian. Okay. If you do not remember it, the name is Hermitian. By definition, this is called Hermitian. Okay. So what you have to show now, suppose that A is PSD. So what you do, you multiply. So let me show this one. A12. Okay. The moment I have said that A is PSD, okay, fine. Let me first say A is PSD. What is that we have already said? We have said the diagonal entries are greater than equal to 0. So that I have told about the diagonal entries. Now I want to talk about the non-diagonal entries or the off-diagonal entries. So let me simply talk about A12 and A21. I want to see whether A21 is complex conjugate of A12. That's what I want to see. Okay, fine. So now what I do, I take this one, 1, 1, 0, 0, all zeros, multiply it with A, 1, 1, all zeros. So this is my X, and I am considering X star Ax. What will I get over here? Now, what I will get is the following. I will get A11 plus A12 plus A21 plus A22. That's what I will get. Okay, and because it is given to be PSD, this whole thing should be greater than equal to 0. Now what I already know that A11 and A22, they are greater than equal to 0. So therefore, what I conclude is that A12 plus A21 is real. And A12 and A21, it is real. It basically means the imaginary part of A12 is negative of the imaginary part of A21. That's how their imaginary parts are getting cancelled. So that I am getting A12 and A21 real. Okay, so it basically means their imaginary parts are opposite of each other. Okay, the next thing that I consider is very similar, but instead of 1 1, I now consider 1 I. 1 I, 0 0, everything 0. And what is that star? Now the star would be 1 minus I, 0 0 0, like this. And what will be this product? Now look, this 1 and this 1 will get multiplied with A11. This one, see, from the left hand side, this is for row. You remember the first entry with row 1, second entry with row 2 from left, if you are looking at matrix multiplication, third entry with row 3. That's how you will multiply. Okay, so one entry and one A11. Now one from left and I from right, where it will be multiplied? Now it will be multiplied with A12. So I will have I times A12, and then minus I times minus I from here, that is second entry and first one. So minus I times A21, and then minus I that will be with this one. So that will give me ultimately A22. And by definition, because it is PSD given, this has to be greater than equal to 0. But A11, A22, I already know is greater than equal to 0. Therefore, I conclude that I times A12 minus A21 is in R, which basically means I times something is in R, which basically means this A12 minus A21 is purely imaginary. Okay, A12 minus A21 is purely imaginary. So let me write simply IR. Okay, it is purely imaginary. But how can you have the difference of two numbers purely imaginary? Now their real parts have to be equal. If their real parts are equal, they will cancel away. What will remain is purely imaginary. So what have I got? Now from the first thing I understood, from the first one I have already concluded that their imaginary parts are negative of each other, and from here I am concluding that their real parts are equal. So it automatically says that A12 is equal to A21 bar. Okay, so that shows that the matrix is Hermitian. Okay, not very this thing, it's a fundamental thing that you should be knowing. Okay, some more things. What is more important is the last theorem that we are going to use. It is very useful. But nevertheless, I have seen many people in some practical algorithms, they use this PSD and PD kind of matrix. So better to know some properties. Okay, this lemma A is PD if and only if, suppose I am talking about real matrices now, then A is PD if and only if A transpose is equal to A, this is A star equal to A, star is transpose now, and X transpose AX greater than 0 holds for all x not equal to 0. Okay, so that is for PD, and A is PSD if and only if it is symmetric, and x star AX is greater than equal to 0 for all x. This is I mean kind of easy to show. If A is PD, then this implies that A star equal to A, and anyway we already know that x star AX is greater than is greater than 0 for all x non-zero, that we know. So from there it follows. Conversely, suppose that I know A transpose is equal to A is real. Okay, A real given, A is symmetric given to me, and it is also given that x transpose AX is positive for all non-zero real vector x. Now what do I want to show? Now I want to show that it is PD. Now what is A is PD? To show A is PD, what do you show? Now I just have learned only the definition. So basically I want to show that x star A x is positive for all x non-zero. That is what I want to show. Now how will you show? Now like if I have any complex vector x, I can write it as like u plus iv. Now correct? You can write that way. In that case, what happens to x star AX? Now x star AX will look like u star AU plus u star AIV minus I V star AU plus V star AV. Fine, no problem. I do not have any problem. Now you said x is, I want to show it PD, so I have assumed x is non-zero. If x is non-zero, then either u is non-zero or v is non-zero. Both of them 0 means x is 0. Okay, so in that case, because of the hypothesis that is given to me that x star AX is greater than 0 for all real vector x, this is real, huh? You remember, this is the condition that is given. X star AX greater than 0. So it basically shows that this term, the first term, plus the fourth term is definitely positive. One of them is definitely positive. The other one can be 0 at the best. Otherwise, both of them are positive. Okay. So that is fine. Next, what? Now, next, remember you both have I common. So I you can take second term, third term, you can take I common. And what do you have? Now I have u star A V, and I have minus of V star A U. Now what is U? Now U is real vector. So in that case, U star is nothing but U transpose only. Okay, this is U transpose. And V star is also V transpose. What is A? Now A is given to be real symmetric. Well, if you have real symmetric matrix, then U transpose AV, what is it? Now this is a number. U transpose AV, A is a square matrix, U transpose is a row vector, a real vector row, and then V is column vector. This is a number only. This is a real number. Now this is a real number. Therefore, its transpose is itself. Real number transpose is itself. It's one by one only. But then its transpose is actually V transpose A transpose U. That is fine. What else? Now I already know that A transpose is equal to A. That condition is also given. So this is actually nothing but V transpose AU. Okay, so U transpose AB. So basically these two are same, therefore their difference is 0. So automatically this becomes positive. So that is what has been said over there. Okay, how do you recognize a matrix is positive, semi-definite or not? Before you asked, why would I require to recognize whether a matrix is positive, semi-definite or not? I mean, what is my benefit? Of course, I will have benefit. I mean, at least in this case, in our like next 1 or 2 lectures, you will see that we will use positive semi-definite matrices. There is something called the Hessian matrix, and we will be using that. Okay. So therefore, we require to check whether a given square matrix is positive definite or positive semi-definite. So the following are equivalent. Okay. TFAE means the following are equivalent. What are equivalent? Now, I mean, there are 3 statements, but there are within bracket that will make it 6 statements. Okay. So 3 for this PD case and 3 for PST case. So forget the PST case. It says the first one, A is positive definite, equivalent to saying that A is Hermitian and the eigenvalues of A are positive. Okay. C, A is equal to B star B for some non-singular matrix B. These 3 are equivalent. You give one, you can derive the other 2. Okay. So I will do that. What we already know that if A is PD, then A is Hermitian. That part I have already said. Because in fact, we have shown that if A is PST, the bigger class, any matrix belonging to the bigger class is Hermitian, the PST matrix. That we have already discussed. The only thing that I have to show that if A is PD, then eigenvalues of A are eigenvalues of A are positive. That's what I want to show. So let lambda x be an eigenpair. What do I mean by eigenpair? Now eigenpair means lambda is an eigenvalue, x is a corresponding eigenvector. Okay, and when we say eigenvector, it basically means x is a non-zero vector such that ax equal to lambda x. Okay, x is a non-zero vector, eigenvector by definition non-zero. Well, in that case, x star a x, it's A is given to be PD, huh? It's supposed to be positive, right? Because x is non-zero vector. But then since I know that x is an eigenvector corresponding to the eigenvalue lambda, what I see, this is equal to x star lambda x, and this is equal to lambda times x star x. But since you know that x is not equal to 0, therefore you see that x star x is x norm square, and x norm square is not equal to 0, and so lambda is equal to x star a x divided by x norm square is positive. You can divide that positive number, so it's a positive. This whole thing was positive, so it follows that it is positive. Now B implies C. Suppose that you have a Hermitian and eigenvalues are positive. Then if you have a Hermitian matrix, you remember the spectral theorem for a Hermitian matrix. The spectral theorem for a Hermitian matrix says that if you have a Hermitian matrix, then there exists a unitary matrix such that A is equal to U star lambda U, this is B lambda, big lambda, where lambda is the diagonal matrix. So a Hermitian matrix is unitarily diagonalizable. In fact, a bigger theorem is about the normal matrix, but here it is enough. Hermitian matrices are normal only. Is unitarily diagonalizable. It means there exists a unitary matrix U such that A is equal to U star, this is diagonal matrix, of eigenvalues. The diagonal elements are eigenvalues only. Okay, so that is the spectral theorem. This is called the spectral theorem. And since it is diagonal matrix of eigenvalues, you can always write this as U star, this power half, again this power half U. What do you mean by this lambda power half? Now lambda is diagonal matrix. All you do is whatever diagonal entries are positive entries only. We like B, the item B says that, I mean the hypothesis says that the eigenvalues are positive. So eigenvalues are positive. So what you do, you take their square roots. Okay, so something like this. If you have in the diagonal, if you have something like 2 3 0 0, then you are writing as root 2 0 0 root 3, and again the same matrix, root 2 0 0 root 3, the same matrix. Okay, so when you multiply, you get 2 3. That's how you get. So you can write that. Fine. Now because this is unitary, the matrix is unitary, you can write this also as U star U. That is U star and U star U. Unitary matrix means U star U is equal to identity. Unitary matrix definition. Okay, so this is the case, and then this is equal to, you can now write this as B star, and this one is B. Okay, so I can write, so what happened? Now I wrote A is equal to B star B, for this is my B. Okay, fine, you wrote A equal to B star B. Now is B non-singular? Now yes, non-singular. Unitary matrix are non-singular matrix. Okay, and this lambda power half, that is non-singular because it is a diagonal matrix of positive entries. Product of three non-singular matrix is non-singular, so B is non-singular. Okay, so what has happened? Now it was given to me that A was Hermitian and A had positive eigenvalues. Now using that, I have been able to write A as B star B, where B is a non-singular matrix. So that is fine. And C implies A, we have done. If A is equal to B star B, then A is PD, that we have already shown in the previous item. Okay. Any doubt till now?
No, sir.
Okay. Fine. Now I will talk a little bit about this is the one that we are going to use. Okay. What is it? Now if I have, so suppose that I have a n by n matrix A. If I have a n by n matrix A, so this bracket n means the set 1 2 3 4. I have probably said it when I was talking about assignment problems. And suppose that I have a subset, non-empty subset. If you take empty subset, then the matrix becomes empty. So by A comma S, so that by that I would mean the submatrix of A where indices are chosen from S. For example, if I take A to be this 4 by 4 matrix and S is equal to 1, 4, then by ASS, I would mean that you select the indices, row indices first, row indices fourth, column indices first, and column indices 4. So in this intersection, whatever matrix you are seeing, that is the matrix. So that is why you get 1, 4, 9, 6. So that is A S by S. When S is a, so this is called a principal submatrix. Why it is called principal submatrix? Now, for example, you can have a submatrix of this form. A bracket, I can take 1, 4 from here, but I can take 1, 2 from here. What does this mean? Now row number 1, row number 4, column number 1, column number 2. So that would give me the matrix 1, 2, 9, 8. That is the matrix. But this is not a principal submatrix. Okay, it is a submatrix nevertheless, but not principal. Principal submatrix will mean the row indices and the column indices, they are the same. Okay, that is when you call them principal submatrix. Okay, and what is a leading principal submatrix? Now a leading principal submatrix comes from an index set S of the form 1, 2, 3, 4k. I mean up to that. For example, you can take S equal to singleton 1. That is fine. So then the leading principal submatrix will be just 1, the A11. Okay. Or you can take S equal to 1, 2. So the leading principal submatrix will be 1, 2, 1, 2. That is row index 1, 2, column index 1, 2. Or you can take the leading index set to be 1, 2, 3. You have to take it 1, 2, 3 up to k. So those are the ones that will give you the leading principal submatrix. So here it will have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, and then 0, 2, 3. Okay, so these are called leading principal submatrices. So if you have a 4 by 4 matrix, you will have 4 leading principal submatrix. One of size 1, one of size 2, one of size 3, and one of size 4. Okay. The determinant of a submatrix, of a square submatrix, is called a minor. Okay. The determinant of a square submatrix is called a minor. You probably have already heard about it. Nevertheless, remember this one. It is called a minor. Okay. Need not be principal submatrix of any square submatrix. It is called a minor. If you are taking a principal submatrix, then it is called a principal minor. If you are taking the determinant of a leading principal submatrix, then you will say leading principal minor. So there are three things over here: submatrix, square submatrix, determinant is minor; principal submatrix, determinant is principal minor; leading principal submatrix, leading principal minor. Acha, this notation is also very common. Instead of writing A S comma S, if I write A S slash S, okay, this slash instead of comma, this slash, this means I am deleting rows indexed in S and columns indexed in S. So essentially you will obtain the submatrix corresponding to S complement only. So this is actually, by definition, this is defined to be a S complement comma S complement. Okay. These are few symbols. If you go through it once or twice, you will remember this. This is something like initially I thought I will tell this, but I mean, this will not permit actually. Probably I will not have time. Cauchy interlacing theorem. You might not have heard about it. This is something about Hermitian matrices. Suppose A is a Hermitian matrix. A is a Hermitian matrix means A star is equal to A. Okay. And B is obtained by adding one more column to the right of A and its star, that row vector at the bottom of A. Okay. And a real number B. Okay. So that is why if you have Hermitian matrix, then the diagonal entries have to be real number only. Okay. And suppose that you already know that Hermitian matrices have eigenvalues real only. You already know. Okay. Just by definition, follows from definition itself. So suppose that lambda 1, A is n by n. Suppose that lambda 1, lambda 2, dot 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 lambda n are the eigenvalues. Okay. And they are ordered from smaller to smallest to greatest. And similarly, mu1, mu2 up to mu n plus 1, because size of B is n plus 1. They are the eigenvalues of B. And they are also ordered from smallest to greatest. Then, because of the structure, because A, like B is equal to A, Y, Y star B, it so happens, it always happens that the eigenvalues mu interlace the eigenvalues lambda. That is, you first write lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n, then put mu's one between, like between them, and then one to the left, one to the right. So one of this, 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 one of this. The eigenvalues of A and B interlace. That is why it is called Cauchy interlacing theorem. Also, some people called like interlacing theorem for the bordered Hermitian matrix. Okay, this because you have taken a Hermitian matrix and you have bordered it by another row and column. Sorry. Okay, so this is Cauchy interlacing theorem. The proof is very beautiful. May take about 1.5 pages or 2 pages. Okay, because of few 1 or 2 lemmas that you will have to do because of that, not the single proof. Okay, the other thing that you might have heard about it till now is that the eigenvalues of a matrix are continuous functions of its entries. Okay, a proof for this can also be given. It's not a big problem. One proof uses Rauch's theorem, and if you remember a little bit, it's a theorem from complex analysis. Okay, you can tell. Essentially, you are going to show that the zeros of a polynomial are continuous functions of the coefficients. Okay. Anyway, so for me, like I will be like for us, we will be using these two. Okay. So why have we discussed this much? Because of this main theorem. What is that? And this is the test that we are going to use again and again. This is very useful for us. So how do I know whether A is a PD matrix? Now, first, it has to be Hermitian. That for every PSD PD matrix has to be Hermitian. That we recognized like from the beginning itself. So it for a PD matrix, it has to be Hermitian, and the leading principal minors. Yes. Okay, and the leading principal minors of A are positive. So to see whether a matrix is PD or not, what you have to do, you first check whether it is a Hermitian. And then check the determinant of the leading principal submatrices. So leading principal minors, you remember that? You check the leading principal minors. And if all these determinants are positive, then it is PD. Okay. And what happens to the PSD? Now for PSD, just only this leading will not do. You have to check all principal minors. So this leading principal minors also you will see, but you will also take all principal minors of this type also you will have to check. All principal minors. Or one selected here, one selected here, one selected here, one selected here. That also. All principal minors you will have to check. If you check them, then that is enough. That is all it says. Okay. So suppose, let me tell this one, the first one let me tell. A. If the leading principal minors are positive. Okay, let me do that one. So suppose that this is if and only if, okay? If A is PD. If A is PD, then what does it mean? Then I know that A is Hermitian, that I know. And what do I know? I know that eigenvalues of A are positive. That is by the previous theorem. Okay. That if A is PD, then A is Hermitian and eigenvalues. This was item B. Okay. We said the following are equivalent. Item A and this was item B. The third item was A is equal to B star B. Okay. So I know that. Now I want to take a principal submatrix. Now if you, in fact, why leading principal submatrix? You take any principal submatrix. So suppose that I have A. Now you select, I want to take a principal submatrix. That means select a row and select that column. Suppose this is kth row. And select that column, kth column, and delete that. Okay. Kth column. This is kth row. And delete that. So basically what you are looking, now I am looking at A K slash K. Fine. A K slash K. Now you tell me one thing. A was Hermitian. A was Hermitian. What will happen if I delete kth row and kth column? Now it will be Hermitian only. It will remain Hermitian. I mean, Hermitian means what? The symmetric style, only complex conjugate is there. Okay. So it will be Hermitian. Okay, fine. Now A had eigenvalues positive. What will happen to the eigenvalues of this one? A K slash K, that is after deleting the kth row and column. Now I remember the Cauchy interlacing theorem. If A had eigenvalues positive and I write lambda 1, lambda n like this, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda n minus 1 like this, all of them were positive. Then and A K slash K will be a smaller matrix. Then this, its eigenvalues will come over here. Gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma n minus 1. And gamma 1 is greater than equal to lambda 1 and lambda 1 is positive. So gamma 1, gamma 2, gamma n minus 1, they will also be positive. Oh, acha. So A K slash K is a Hermitian matrix and has positive eigenvalues. Now yes, so well then that is item B of the previous theorem. That means A K slash K is PD. Okay. And essentially, because any principal submatrix you can obtain by deleting rows and columns, same row and same columns, it automatically means that every principal submatrix of a PD matrix is PD. Okay, so what we wanted to show, we wanted to show that if A is PD, then A star equal to A and the leading principal minors of A are positive. Now what I showed is that any principal submatrix is PD. Now if any principal submatrix is PD, what about their determinant? Now their determinant is product of eigenvalues, na? Determinant is product of eigenvalues, so it is positive only. So one side proof is over. If A is PD, then A is Hermitian and the leading principal minors of A are positive, because those principal submatrices, they themselves are positive definite and their determinant being the product of eigenvalues will be positive. That is one side. What about the other side? Now what is the other side? Now other side is like this. Suppose I have been given A star equal to A is Hermitian, and I have been also given that the leading principal minors are positive. Remember, these are only talking about the determinants of the leading principal submatrices. That is all. Okay, and I want to now claim that A has positive eigenvalues. Okay, okay. So first, I will proceed by induction. Okay, A11, that is the one by one this thing. So A11 is given to be positive, because that is one by one leading principal minor. It is given to be positive. Okay. Now I want to say the eigenvalues of A11, A12, A21, A22. That is this principal submatrix. This has eigenvalues greater than equal to 0. Sorry, eigenvalues positive, not greater than equal to 0, greater than 0. All of them are bigger than 0, all the eigenvalues. How do I say that? Now look, for the single matrix one by one, so that is the eigenvalue, no problem. And by Cauchy interlacing theorem, the eigenvalues of this bigger one will be, and this A11 will lie in between. That is all. I know Cauchy interlacing theorem says the eigenvalues of the bigger matrix will interlace the eigenvalues of the smaller matrix. The smaller matrix was one by one, that is the eigenvalue. Okay, that is all I know. And A11 was bigger than 0, so I understand that lambda 2 is greater than 0. Oh, remember, the leading principal minors are positive. That means the determinant of this 2 by 2 matrix is positive. That is also given. And from Cauchy interlacing theorem, I see that lambda 2 is positive, because lambda 2 is greater than equal to A11 and A11 is already greater than 0. Okay, so I know that one eigenvalue is positive, lambda 2. And I have been given that the determinant is positive, but then remember that the determinant is the product of the eigenvalues. Therefore, I conclude that lambda 1 must have been bigger than equal to 0. From here, lambda 1 must have been bigger than equal to 0. So now I have concluded. I wanted to conclude that this 2 by 2 matrix has both the eigenvalues positive. Now I have concluded. Next, what do? I look at the 3 by 3 matrix. Now what about the 3 by 3 matrix? Now you already know that the 2 by 2 matrix, these are positive. The eigenvalues are positive. And then what? Now for the 3 by 3 matrix, by Cauchy interlacing theorem, you will have eigenvalues like this: 1 to the left, 1 in between, 1 to the right. And this, when I am saying to the left, it means less than equal to, huh? This is less than equal to, this is less than equal to. It can be equal also, but I don't bother. But what I know is lambda 1 is already positive. Since lambda 1 is already positive, it follows that mu 2 and mu 3, they both are positive. All I have to conclude is that mu 1 is positive, but then mu 1 into mu 2 into mu 3, that is the determinant of the 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, that A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, and A31, A32, A33. That determinant is nothing but the product of the eigenvalues, and that determinant has been given to me by hypothesis positive. Therefore, it follows that mu1 is positive. So then, like this, I will proceed and finally say that all eigenvalues of A are positive. That means I am getting A star equal to A. That means A is Hermitian, and all eigenvalues are positive, and therefore, by that is item B of the equivalent conditions. So therefore, A is PD. Okay. To show that A is PSD, a little more work has to be done. Somewhat, just a little bit of manipulation, where I will use that eigenvalues are continuous functions of the entries, and that will do it. Okay. And these proofs, did I write? I was writing, not for the exam. These are not for exam purpose. So I mean, you don't have to bother. If you are interested, you read. You will learn something. Yeah. Ask. Ask your questions, please.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So in the second last theorem where you told it is some continuous function, I did not understand what did you mean by those function of those entries.
Acha, eigenvalues are continuous functions of the entries of the matrix. It basically means that suppose what do I say? So if you have written some matrices over here, okay, let me say A11, A12, A21, A22. Suppose I have written some entries. Once I have written a 2 by 2 matrix, I know I will have some eigenvalues. No problem. But what I was thinking, after finding the eigenvalues, I vary A11 just by an epsilon, a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. What am I expecting that will happen to the eigenvalues? Will they behave like a discontinuous function? I mean, see, a 2 by 2 matrix has 2 eigenvalues, right? And this A11, A12, A21, A22, I am selecting from complex, right? The set of complex numbers. Now what I do, or even you think from real numbers, from wherever. Now suppose I have written these numbers, and then I am trying to vary A11 a little bit. So then it is expected that the eigenvalues, the 2 eigenvalues, they will also vary. Whether they will vary discontinuously or they will vary continuously. The answer is continuously.
Yes, sir. I understood now, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
That is what you will use the second part of the proof that I did not actually say. You want me to say that one? That like it is easy actually, not difficult. I can tell, but like time is over. I can tell in the next class if you want. But you all have to demand actually. You can demand any of these theorems or any of the explanations again. I can tell that. Even the previous classes also, that is fine. If you are interested. Anything else that you want to ask? Okay, then otherwise we'll stop here.